Next, we will explore some macroeconomic perspectives on AI and its impact in a few key areas that mean a lot for us at the Institute: health, life sciences, climate, sustainability. I'd like to welcome back our colleague Ricardo Baeza Yates and invite our panelists up to the stage, looking dapper as usual.
So I have the pleasure to moderate these lightning talks. The Institute has 5 focus areas. One is responsible AI, the theme of today, so we are not talking more about that. The other one is hybrid language models, so the next generation models that also will have understand context, will have knowledge, real knowledge, and will have reasoning capabilities. And I guess generative AI has been in all the talks already, so it's all kind of covered. But now we will talk about the 3 verticals we have. These are health, life sciences, and climate and sustainability. And here we have the leads: Sam Scarpino for life sciences, Eugene Tunik for health, and Ardeshir Contractor for climate and sustainability. So, Eugene, I think you're first.
Thank you, Ricardo. I don't know if we can show slides. The AI plus health vertical within the Institute for Experiential AI is aligned with the priorities of all the other colleges at the university, and we're highly engaged with industry and academic partners on all aspects of health. When I say health, the traditional view is that we're talking about health care when somebody gets sick. Oh, thank you. When somebody gets sick, we provide medical services. How is AI plugged into all of that? What we're really talking about here is health in a much broader sense. We also include health span. How do we get people living healthier lives earlier on to mitigate diseases, identify diseases early, and so on? And so,
Jim, you can look.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. So we have a very large team at the AI plus health vertical, consisting of postdocs, research scientists, and faculty that are scattered between Boston and Portland, and Charlotte, and other campuses that are involved in a variety of projects spanning bio discovery and real-world evidence, as well as engaging with industry on industry-sponsored solutions. The real priorities really center around 4 key areas. We're interested in curating large data sets that can serve as real-world evidence for health. And what we're really talking about these data sets is not just retrospective static data sets, which has been kind of the direction that AI has been used traditionally, but we're talking about dynamically, rapidly changing data and information about one's biology, cognition, mobility, physiology, and so on. So we want to be able to fuse that data together with static information about their health to make informed decisions, where AI can be, as we say, a member of the clinical decision support team. AI at the point of care is also a big priority. AI has really unlocked completely new territory for how to deliver healthcare and how to make it accessible at the location that the individuals live. And so no longer are we relegated to hospital and rehabilitation centers. We can now deliver health anytime, anywhere, to anyone. And so AI is really the enabler of that new frontier. We're exploring ways of how to leverage AI for improving the time scale for bringing devices and drugs to market through simulation and predictive modeling. And then finally, the area that's particularly important, I think, and was highlighted in the previous talk, is developing AI literacies in health professionals. Not only clinicians, but health professionals, policymakers, and so on. This is, I think, one of the biggest limiting factors for the uptake of AI technology in healthcare and medicine. I'll highlight very quickly, if I have a minute, one ongoing project that is part of Northeastern's Impact Engine, which is an investment by the university in real-world projects that have real-world impact in the relatively short term. There are 2 projects. One is called HEART, Healthcare Enabled by AI in Real Time, and the sister of that project is REHAB, Rehabilitation Enabled by AI in Real Time. The idea here is that we can take sensing technology, dynamically changing data, static data, while individuals are in intensive care units. In this case, it's the cardiothoracic intensive care unit, and monitor them through their entire transition through the step-down units and into the home with the intent of reducing adverse events and preventing readmission. With that, I think I'll stop.
Am I next?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. And this is a webinar that we did a month or two ago that if you have the chance, I recommend viewing.
Oh, do not use. All right. I'm going to stand up because I don't think I can talk about slides sitting down. It's too uncomfortable. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Scarpino. I'm the Director of AI and Life Sciences at Northeastern University. I'm also on the faculty in Health and Computer Sciences and the Network Science Institute. I have a few slides that talk about what we're doing at the university in the context of AI and life sciences. But at dinner last night, we were discussing some of the unique ethical, legal, and responsibility challenges associated with different application areas of AI. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of those because I think that it will give us something to discuss over the lunch break, and it also illustrates the kind of work that we're engaged with at the university. So I'll tell kind of three stories. The first is, I don't know how many of you saw this article in The Guardian. I saw it yesterday, which probably means that it came out over the weekend. And they were interviewing a woman who is a part of the UK Biobank. So if you're not familiar with this, it's a large data set that's been collected in the UK that includes a huge amount of health, genomic, other kinds of omic data on individuals. And it's been a gold mine for discoveries in the biomedical spaces. And this individual was frustrated because she found out that her medical records in the biobank were not being updated because of some outdated regulatory and technology system that prevented her GP from communicating updates on her health status into the biobank. And she was frustrated because she wants her data to be used to make these biomedical discoveries, right? That's why she opted into the biobank experiment in the first place. So I think one of the things that we're trying to address at the university is developing ethical and responsible frameworks to ensure that data are used for the purposes that they were collected for, which often means that we need to ensure they can be used, because often data are collected for a specific use case but sit on the shelf collecting dust, which in many ways violates the individual whose data are contained in there just as much as a potential privacy violation may violate them. So that's the first, is that we want to develop the right kind of operational, legal, ethical frameworks to ensure that data are used for the purposes that they were collected for, with an emphasis on the word use. And of course, we believe that a special role that universities can play is by being that trusted intermediary between organizations to help ensure that data are used for the purposes that they were collected for. So that's the first, ensuring that data are used appropriately. The second, I just got back from Antimicrobial World Congress, and one of my parents had just gotten out of the hospital with an antibiotic-resistant infection. And this is the second time this has happened. And I just asked the audience, how many people have waited around either themselves or for a loved one for a bacterial culture to come back so that they could leave the hospital? They're already starting to feel better. We suspect that the medications are going to work. So the sort of immediate risk of death has passed. But they sit for 3, 4, 5, 6 days in the hospital waiting to find out what specific antibiotics the bacteria are resistant to so that they can go home with the proper antibiotic course. Pretty much everybody put their hand up. Now you think about the amount of time, money, energy, and the opportunities for other kinds of infections to be picked up in the hospital that occur as a result of the fact that we're essentially using 19th century techniques. I mean, not quite, but nearly 19th century techniques to diagnose antimicrobial resistant infections. So the second thing that we're focused on is how do we actually bring modern analytics, data science, artificial intelligence to real world problems that are actually keeping people in the hospital, running up medical bills, increasing the risk of opportunistic infections, et cetera. And so we're exploring many other similar kinds of areas where if you poll the audience about how many people had to stay home during the pandemic. It's going to be just about everybody except for those individuals that had essential jobs. We could be leveraging high-resolution data on mobility to improve contact tracing efforts to keep schools open, to keep businesses open, similar to what they do in South Korea. We could be leveraging, and this is the last piece that I want to talk about, we could be leveraging wet lab in the loop methods to rapidly accelerate our ability to bring biologicals like antibodies to market. So instead of waiting 6 to 12 months for an antibody against SARS-CoV-2, we wait 3 to 4 months, which means it's before the first wave in the United States and Europe. So just winding down then, the third piece is what we call wet lab in the loop AI. This means actually integrating wet lab experiments with AI in a feedback manner such that the outcome of the experiment informs the AI, which then informs the next set of experiments, as opposed to a one-way handoff between data and experiments or experiments and data. And we think that this is, again, another unique aspect of a university is we have someone working on just about everything that you could ever imagine having a wet lab to work on. And no company has those kinds of resources. And so what we're doing in the AI and life sciences vertical, and again, it involves a huge number of faculty across the university, research scientists, et cetera, corporate partners, industry, et cetera, is focusing on drug discovery, systems biology, large language models, education, wet lab in the loop, biobank data analysis around these three core areas, which are ensuring ethical and responsible use of data, ensuring that we're focusing on the right problems that actually drive impact in our populations, and integrating wet labs tightly into the loop with AI. Thank you.
And now we have climate and sustainability.
Thank you. So we're a new group. We started only in mid-year 2023 within the AI. But we've been around for a while. And this is the Sustainability and Data Sciences Lab at Northeastern, a large grouping, and been working with, in the areas, working with, like a typical research university group. And this group is working with a lot of faculty, not only within engineering, computer science, social sciences, public policy, and working with, as usual, a host of different government and different sponsorship groups. So what's our focus? It's kind of threefold. One is working with AI, with the Roux Institute, and to build new areas, new innovation, new development within the climate area. The second is to actually work with companies, startups, developers, and to see what's innovation and see how climate and energy and sustainability fits in with where they're going and how we can add on to it and actually build on the whole research effort in there. So we've done a lot of things over the many years. Our work in AI has been used for large climate models and also then bringing the large climate models to more precision, which helps on things like photovoltaics. It helps on understanding wind vectors, very useful for offshore wind. We look at networks. We look at resilience. We look at recovery. We look at how the Boston-Washington corridor of rail would get affected by a weather extreme and how you could build the resilience and recovery methods for that. So a lot of network science gets into it as well. And so our approach now is going to be to try and combine specialities. We bring in computer science, we bring in engineering, data, bring in bio as well. There's a whole area of agriculture, biosciences that work along with climate, bridging the gaps that is there. And I think the most important is that we want to create a focus on resilience, the ability for communities, cities, transportation networks, energy outlays to actually be able to weather, I use it as a pun, the weather extremes that we are going to see, and we are seeing. So talking about startups, I want to highlight two startups that came out of the lab. One was a company called RiskQ, which was started a few years ago. It went through funding rounds. It's even been acquired by the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, the Intercontinental Exchange, and that works with giving climate data for bonds, for bond issuers, for bond rating agencies. It's Another one is a company called Zeus AI, which actually is being supported a lot by NASA. And what it does is uses the whole wealth of NASA data, not only satellites, balloons, everything, and makes it simpler to understand more precision of what is the weather using an AI construct. And where does AI come in useful over here? I mean, is it just AI for the sake of AI? No. AI actually helps to reduce the number of satellites, to reduce the number of responders that you need, the number of investment that you would need forward, because you're able to then work it out and, in the near term. So these have been two very exciting startups, and we hope to work with many startups as well. And we work with the community. We work with Boston area. We work with the United Nations, the Gulf of Maine Research Institute, University of Maine. We work with the Nature Conservancy. And so this concludes my presentation. And
thank you.
Questions?
Maybe we have time for one or two questions, if anyone wants to address the speakers. Yes? A microphone? So my microphone is coming.
I'm sure we all have many questions, but I'm curious, briefly, if you've had any success integrating undergraduates into any of the projects that you've described. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Joe. Yes, the short answer is yes, and there's a number of ways that they're involved. The university offers, first of all, undergraduate research scholarships at different levels that they can apply for, and the undergrads working with investigators in the different projects and labs often apply for those and partner up on specific projects with those investigators. We obviously have the co-op program, and so we have a number of co-op students engaging in projects with both industry companies that we're partnering with, as well as on traditional research projects in the lab. And then there are capstone type of classes and projects that the undergrads are being, they're engaging through the AI Institute through those types of mediums as well. Did you want to maybe build on that?
Just to say two things. One, if you're not familiar with Northeastern, we have the world's leading co-op program at the undergraduate level. That's one of the primary ways in which we can engage with outside organizations. It's also an important talent pipeline for those organizations. One specific way is I have an undergraduate who's working in our group on precision nutrition diagnostics for cancer patients that involves a combination of AI and metabolomics in the wet lab. And so we look for opportunities to get undergraduates, also masters and PhD students, involved in that experiential process as often as possible.
Well, we have to say that Northeastern invented the co-op program, so it's more than that, not only the largest inventor. So, and I think Arup has this great program with the students.
Yeah, we have a lot of undergraduates, yeah.
But also these trips that undergraduates do all over the world, I think maybe you can mention that.
Well, if you're trying to bridge, between different disciplines and you are strong in data science and climate, you have to go to other students and others, and why not undergraduates? And we work together. We create multi-group teams, data scientists, undergraduates, working together, master's, PhD, mix it up to work on projects.
No, I was mentioning these summer trips that Arup does with students all over the world. So the last one was in Nepal and India. So and basically to see the changes on climate on the spot, like glaciers in the Himalayas. So you see what is really happening. And I have seen that in Patagonia, where the first time I went there, the glacier was touching the sea, and now you have to walk several kilometers to touch it. So it's real.
Understanding the climate and changes through taking undergrads under something called dialogue across different nations and letting them hear from specialists and others from those nations. That's something we've done every year.
Okay, so last question before lunch.
Well, thank you all of them for the panel. So my question will be: could you give us a perspective on, because the title is Health, Life Sciences, Climate, and Sustainability. Can you give, if there's a specific niche or industry that is more advanced than the other one, and if maybe like in healthcare there could be like good insights and apply them to sustainability or climate, or could you give some perspectives around the comparison between of them? Thank you.
Let me finish climate first. So climate has been using AI models, okay, for a very long time. I mean, because climate data, all the atmospheric data that you need and all the satellite data over the years is so huge. The AI has crept in quite a lot over the years, and so it's been there. And now the question comes is, how do you mold it? How do you make it more application-oriented? How do you make it away from just for climate scientists and make it more for industry, for companies? So it's been there for a while.
Yeah, for health and healthcare, healthcare is the 5th least digitized industry in the country. And that certainly has a lot of limitations when we look at AI opportunities in that space, right? It's really a wide open space. And there are multiple challenges to be overcome from data protection, individual privacy rights, compute power, all of that kind of stuff. And so I think that in part, those are some of the major hurdles that have caused that industry to move along slower than perhaps other sectors. But at the same time, I think that the opportunity is tremendous. Now, there are areas within healthcare that are much more mature than others. For example, medical imaging is much farther along than many other subdisciplines in healthcare. And so there are lessons to be learned from one and transplant them into other sectors. The opportunity is tremendous, right? Take something like reducing medical errors. Medical errors are the 3rd leading cause of death in this country after cancer and heart disease and cancer. So, if AI can make a dent in something like that through any kind of real-time predictive modeling, I mean, that is a huge win right there.
Just briefly, I mean, we've heard a lot today, especially in the previous talk. I really like the emphasis on good business process and data. I think that those cut across all applications of AI and machine learning. I'll say a specific one. So Northeastern University was recently selected to lead one of the US CDC's new forecasting and outbreak analytics centers related to infectious diseases. This is Professor Alessandro Vespignani at Northeastern who's directing this. Some of our colleagues from Ginkgo and Concentric are in the back who are part of this broad network. So it's true now that medical errors are the 3rd leading cause of death. It was not true for the past 3 years, which was COVID. And it's going to happen again. And the only way that we can prevent the kind of suffering, mortality, loss of educational opportunities, et cetera, is by bringing high-resolution data together with artificial intelligence and mathematical modeling all the way down to the hyper-local level so that we can respond efficiently and effectively to the next pandemic in such a way that keeps schools open, keeps businesses open, while protecting individuals' health and well-being.
So let's thank the speakers.